Hello everyone. So I hope that you must have done the UPSC Prelims paper, both paper 1 and paper 2, and I hope that all of you must have done the paper well, and most of you must be hopeful for writing this year's mains examination. As far as this year's GS paper 1 is concerned, GS paper 1, the first hand itself appears to be moderate, but as the things will settle down, obviously it is on the tougher side. And as I always used to say it in the classes and in all the forum, that sitting outside and analyzing is something different from the real situation when you are in the examination hall. So definitely the question was on tougher side. So if some of the students are not getting much, don't get disheartened, because this is not the time for just go for the judgmental that I am not getting 105, 110, 100, so I have not done well, because the question is highly conceptual and the question that is factual is very factual, and also the question is, you can say, is not the purely conventional, it's a mix. So from my side the question is on the tougher side question paper. In fact, after going through the GS paper 2, the CSAT, most of the students' viewpoint is that CSAT is very tough, specifically the mathematics part. So again that will play a very important role in your overall prelims qualification. Now I am here to discuss the geography component, and this year in geography there are around 15-16 questions, and 2-3 questions are very much overlapping in environment, in agriculture, in economy. That is why we have picked up 13 questions of the geography. So there are 13 questions from the geography, and here we are going to take up the set B. So the questions that we are discussing is of the set B. Now out of the 13 questions, the general pattern remains same, that out of 13 questions, 4 questions are from the maps, and the remaining 9 questions are from the concept. But what is different in this year, that is unusual, in a way it is something that is different from last 4-5 years at least geography questions, that out of these 13 questions, 12 questions are from the world geography, and only 1 question is from the India geography. So India geography has been completely ignored. In fact, the very surprising thing is that the 4 questions that has been asked, the map based question, all the questions are from the world mapping. Of course, those who have attended the classes are those who have the class notes. So luckily majority of the map based questions we were able to pick up, we already have covered in the classes, but it's not going to happen every year. But yes, of course, this year जो आपके map के question आए हैं world mapping के, the world mapping question we have covered in the classes, it must be in your class notes. But the 4 questions were from the world mapping, and India mapping has been completely ignored. Mapping part of this geography component is comparatively moderate to easy. So ये जो 4 questions हैं आपके, these were happens to be the moderate, and also you can say it is a easy. But when you will look out the questions, remaining question, that is 9 questions, that is concept based. In this 9 questions, 1 question is from the India geography, but again this is not from the India physical, India agriculture economic part, that is human and economic aspect, and this question again happens to be current based. So turmeric question they have asked, and turmeric was in the news, so that is a current based, but again it is a moderate. But when you will look out the remaining questions of the geography, that is from the world geography, there are 4-5 questions that were on the tougher side. So we will start the discussion, and in that discussion itself we will look out that which question happens to be the tougher and which question happens to be the moderate. Again, this moderate and tougher is not based on the content or from where it has been asked, because once the paper has been done, as I said, that once the paper has been done, you have come out of the examination hall. So for me, it is very easy to make you understand that this is the reference. But in the actual examination hall, with the content that you have, because we cannot expect that everyone is of the geography optional. So the kind of content you will have for the GS geography, is it possible to apply those concepts within that 30-40 seconds, read the question, apply the question, and ultimately arrive at the answer. So based on that, I will say that whether it is a moderate or tougher. But based on the content sources, you might feel that is a very easy question. So please be very clear that the questions are not very easy. The first question is, scientific studies suggest that there is a shift in taking place in the Earth's rotation axis. So it is from the general geography. So question from the general geography where we talk about the rotation, revolution, but again it covers the climate part. In climate, there is a very important aspect, that is the climate change. Now when we talk about the climate change, there are two major causes of the climate change, or we divide the causes into categories. One is the natural causes, man-made causes. In the natural causes of the climate change, there is a very famous concept of the Milankovitch cycle. Now this question has been picked up from the Milankovitch cycle. So from that perspective, I have put up this question on the tougher side. But yes, this is a question that can be doable based on the other discussions that we generally have. Like the very first discussion, the explanation is, solar flares and associated coronal mass ejections bombarded the Earth's outermost atmosphere with the tremendous amount of energy. Now this comes very easy statement. Most of the students must have known to this. In fact, if you will open my class notes in the climatology, the first page itself you will find where we talk about the evolution of the atmosphere. In the evolution of the atmosphere, you will find that the earliest atmosphere has been taken away, swept away. So the atmospheric changes, earliest atmospheric changes has been caused by the solar flare. So definitely it's a correct statement. And solar flare does plays, because we have the hotspot phenomena, solar hotspot phenomena, this sunspot phenomena that takes place. So the general cycle is around 11-12 years. So still solar flare plays very important role in the general change of the temperature. So of course it's a correct statement. The second statement, that is statement third, as the Earth's polar ice melt, temperature बढ़ेगा, तो definitely there is a change in the mostly the melting. So because of the rising of the temperature, ice will melt. Once the ice will melt, it will turn out to be water. Now what happens to the water? This question is based on that. But again, it's a question of, first statement is from the general geography. Second statement is from the climatology, general geography. Third statement is from the climatology and the ocean. Now that is why this question becomes very difficult. So in simple, you can say that it's a very simple, but it's a very difficult. So oceanography concept, as the Earth's polar ice melt, the water tends to move toward the equator. In oceanography, you must have studied the ocean current, and in ocean current, you must have fair enough idea that the water is not simply moving like that, or water is not stagnant, that more water has been added in the polar area, so the water will start moving toward the equator. There will be a possibility of rising sea level more in case of equatorial area, but again that is associated with the general obstruction in the surface ocean current, the general obstruction in the deep ocean current. So the oceanic movement, the water movement is very complex on the surface. This is not as simple. So this is a incorrect statement. But yes, solar flare has some role in case of change in the rotational axis. Basically, Earth's rotation axis is tilted. So present tilt is around 23.5 degree, but this 23.5 degree changes. So the rotational axis will changes almost between 21 to 24 degree. So this 21 to 24 degree is part of that Milankovitch cycle. Now it is expected that it will take place, this change 21 degree to 24 degree, it will take place in 36,000 years. So we should not bother about it, but yes, it's a part of the general change in the climate on the planet. The second part is, not only this rotational axis angle will change, rather this rotation axis itself will change. So it is also rotating. Now this rotational axis is part of this rotation. So that takes place even, it takes longer time period, and combined effect that is going to happen is, like in the present time period, if you look out the general arrangement of the earth rotation and revolution, then you will find in the present time period we experience the winter, whether you talk about the summer or whether you talk about the winter. So generally we witness present time period summer season in the northern hemisphere when there is a aphelion, because general perception, general common sense will say that when the earth is farthest it should have summer. Earth is farthest, earth is nearest to the sun, then it should have summer. But in reality what happens, when the earth is farthest from the sun, that is aphelion, then we are witnessing the summer. But when this will happen, that the earth rotational axis will changes and it will become 21 degrees Celsius, then that situation will change. So this is something associated with the general causes of the natural causes of climate change on the earth's surface. Now if you look out the answers, so what will be the answer of this question? Which are one of the following is correct? So both statement second and third are correct? No. Both statement second and statement third are correct? No. Only one of the statement is correct, right? And that explains the statement 1. So answer of this question will be the C. So C will be the answer. Only one of the statements, second and third, is correct. So second statement is correct, third statement is incorrect, and of course second statement is clearly telling the cause, explaining the statement number 1. Now moving to the next question of the geography. In fact, this is again map based, but here we are starting from this. Consider the following countries: Bolivia, Brazil, Colombia, Ecuador, Paraguay, Venezuela. So we used to do it in mapping. How many countries through which Andes mountain passes? Andes happens to be the longest mountain range on the earth's surface, and Andes mountain passes from the 7 country. So those who might have done the mapping, they must be knowing. So अगर आपने mapping किया होगा तो you must be very much clear about the Andes mountain. In fact, in our mapping classes also I have covered this. So Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, Argentina, Chile. So these are the 7 countries through which Andes passes. The very important thing that you need to know, that is Brazil and Paraguay is not in that list. So Brazil and Paraguay is not in that list. So Brazil, Paraguay. So Bolivia is there, Colombia is there, Ecuador is there, Venezuela is there. So answer will be only 4. So only 4 are there through which Andes mountain is passing. So this type of this is a very simple question. It's an easy question, and if you will miss this question, if you are not able to do this question correct, definitely in this tight situation, like in the when you will have a very less score on board, and in that less score on the board, if you are committing some of the mistake like misfield, and you are not taking the catches, so obviously your chances of winning the match will go down. So very similarly, the easy questions, when you will miss out, so definitely it is going to affect your overall chances of the selection. Now the next question is, again this question is a map based question, but in this map based question I will put up it a moderately higher side, because Tanganyika we used to cover. Question is asking through how many countries equator is through how many of these locations equator is passing. Now generally when we do the mapping part, so in mapping we used to refer the countries, the continent, we don't go in that deeper, but yes, in the country level, continent level we used to refer. Like when you are doing the Great African Rift Valley, you will have a fair enough idea that Lake Victoria, Lake Edward, so Lake Tanganyika is southern side, so this is not part. In fact, when we do the same, South Africa mapping, so in that South Africa mapping, you will find South Africa mapping. When you will start looking out the South Africa, we have Uruguay is there, we have Brazil is there. In the Brazil coastal area, we have this location, that is Potos Lagoon. So Potos Lagoon is there, and in fact they have asked this question here. So this Potos Lagoon is part of the Brazil much southern side. So these two locations must be known to most of the student. The only tricky part is this Lake Tonle Sap. So this Lake Tonle Sap is in Cambodia. So it is in Cambodia, and Cambodia is not on the equator. So from that you can solve, but of course it is not that easy. It is moderate side. So answer will be none. So Tanganyika, Tonle Sap, Potos Lagoon, all these three are not on the equator. So equator is not passing. Now the next question, this is the only question from the India geography, and this question mostly have been picked up from the current. So current news se pick up ye kiya gaya hai, and as far as the producer is concerned, so this is also associated with the agriculture, but generally this detailed crop generally we used to cover in the optional. So from that perspective, if someone has missed the current, अगर आपने current की जो update है उससे miss करेंगे last के 1 year में, तो then definitely you will have a problem. But if you are following the current, especially last 3-4 months, then you will find that there has been a lots of discussion on the sudden increasing prices of the turmeric. But again I will, as I said, that I will put up in the list of moderate, because it has been discussed in the current. India is the largest producer and exporter of the turmeric in the world. 80% of the turmeric is being produced and exported in India, definitely correct. More than 30 varieties of turmerics are grown in India, correct. Maharashtra, Telangana, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu. So it is peninsular India where it is being cultivated. In fact, the laterite soil is well suited for the cultivation of the turmeric. There is one state missing, but because these are major states, so correct. So Andhra is also in that list where the turmeric is being produced. So all the three statements are correct. So answer will be 1, 2 and 3. Now this question is from the World Geography and Geomorphology topic. The belt of ancient rock from Brazil coast matches with those from the Western Africa. Yes, continental drift theory, Wegener have presented lots of evidences, geological evidences, correct. The gold deposits of Ghana are derived from the Brazil plateau when the two continents were side by side. So this statement is also correct. Now the interesting part is third statement. In fact, I used to suggest to the students also. The Gondwana system of sediments from India is known to have its counterparts in 6 different land masses of the southern hemisphere. This line has been directly picked up from the NCERT. So this line has been directly picked up from the NCERT, and if you will go with that NCERT, so definitely third statement correct, answer will be C. So it is written as it is in your NCERT. The Gondwana system of sediment from India is known to have its counterpart in the 6 different land masses of the southern hemisphere. There also I used to suggest to my student, if you will go little bit deeper, if you will read the sentence, you can say more extensively, then you will find whenever the word counterpart is being used, first of all that country should not be used. But in fact, if you will include more countries, so there will be more land masses. Like if you are bringing the discussion of New Zealand, then definitely the Sri Lanka will also be there. So there are lots of places in the southern side where we have a presence of Gondwana sediment. And when they are talking about the Gondwana sediment, it will not be always like it is written in the Tilite in NCERT. So they are not writing about the glacial deposits. They are simply writing about the Gondwana system of sediment. So if the examiner will pick up, if examiner is going with the NCERT, so if they will go with the NCERT, then definitely answer will be C. But if they will not go with the NCERT, they will go with the statement, so obviously answer should be 1 and 2. So there is some ambiguity, there is some ambiguity in this question, and this type of question regularly being asked in the geography. So my take is 1 and 2. So my take is 1 and 2, but yes, it is written as it is in NCERT. So if examiner is going with the NCERT, so it will be 1, 2 and 3. That is C. Moving to the next question, again from the World Geography, topic climatology. So it is from the climatology topic, climate. The amount of dust particles in the atmosphere is more in the subtropical and temperate areas than in the equatorial and polar region. While teaching the climatology, I made it very clear. In fact, in the open session that we have done, there also I have suggested most of the students that are appearing this year that please focus a greater attention to the general topics of the climatology, general topics of the climatology like composition of the atmosphere, the distribution of temperature, distribution of pressure. Again, this question has been primarily associated with the composition of the atmosphere, particulate matters, aerosols. Now, like water vapor, the aerosols is associated with the source. So wherever there will be higher source, these materials will be present in the higher quantity in the atmosphere. So the amount of dust particles in the atmosphere is more in subtropical and temperate areas than equatorial and polar areas. Equatorial area, we have a huge amount of forest, water bodies. So huge amount of forest, water bodies is not suitable for the huge amount of dust particle in above. Whereas in case of subtropical area, if we will go a little bit deeper in the climatology, the tricellular meridional structure where we have the polar cell, Ferrel cell, Hadley cell. So in Hadley cell you will find the subtropical area is the zone where the air is sinking. So the air that is rising from the equatorial area going toward the polar area is sinking toward the subtropical area, and when the air is sinking toward the subtropical area, it creates a very favorable ground for the formation of the desert. And the desert are mostly the hot desert. These are the great source of the dust particles, and these areas are having the strong dry winds. Wherever you will have the strong dry winds, that will be suitable for the distribution presence of the dust. So definitely the first statement is correct. The second is subtropical and temperate areas have less dry air. So as I said that subtropical area is having a very strong wind. So this is not the correct statement. This is definitely incorrect statement. Now when you will go with this, both statement and statement 2 are correct. Both statement 1 and statement 1 is correct, but statement 2 is incorrect. So statement 1 is correct, statement 2 is not correct. So answer of this question will be C. But again, as I said, this question will be, of course it should be on the moderate side, but the reality is that it will be tougher side, because in the examination hall, if you have not thought in that direction, it will be little bit difficult, and it's quite obvious that might be you have gone for this A option, but of course answer will be C. Then again from the climatology, and the general distribution of temperature. In fact, this is a repetition of the question. So last year also there was a question related to the temperature. This year also they are asking the question related to the distribution of temperature. In January month is the winter. So during winter in northern hemisphere, isotherm bend equatorward. So isotherm is bending toward the equator while crossing the land masses, and poleward while crossing the ocean. So the only thing that you need to understand, जो confusion आपका नहीं होना चाहिए, कि जब भी हम बात करें कि it is bending somewhere means lesser and bending away means higher. So means if they are asking bending toward the equator means where we have the low temperature, and bending toward the polar area where we have the higher temperature. So when you are drawing an isotherm is the line that is representing, it's an imaginary line joining the places having the equal temperature. So if you are joining the, let's say this is equator, and if you are drawing the isotherm of 5 degree temperature, 5 degrees Celsius, so if it is a flat there is no variation, but if you are drawing 10 degree and it is behaving like something this, it's a 10 degrees Celsius. So what you need to understand, that this will be the area where there is a higher temperature, this will be the area where we have a lesser temperature. So simply they are asking that winter month in northern hemisphere, isotherms bend equatorward while crossing the landmass and poleward while crossing the ocean. So it's a very easy concept that the land and ocean gets heated differently. Land gets cooled very quickly and gets heated up very quickly in comparison to the ocean, because the ocean will have a higher specific heat. तो higher specific heat की वजह से जब winter होगी तो land आपकी बहुत ठंडी होगी, जब summer होगी तो land आपकी बहुत गर्म होगी. So now this is the time of the winter, and because of that definitely you will have a more coldness over the land. So this is a correct statement. Now coming to the second, in winter the air over ocean is warmer than that of the land masses in the northern hemisphere. So it is a repetition of the same thing. The air that is in contact. So it is a repetition of the same thing. So obviously both the statement are correct. It is the general distribution of temperature. Along with it, it is also looking out the knowledge, the one very important concept, whether you know it or not, that is land gets heated quickly, land gets cooled very quickly. In fact, when we discuss about the temperature distribution, in that temperature distribution, if you will go through with your notes, you will find there clearly we have discussed that during the winter month, that is January month, the lowest temperature in the northern hemisphere, because the lowest temperature on the surface will be recorded in the July month, that is in the southern hemisphere, the global lowest temperature. But when it's a January month, lowest temperature in northern hemisphere will not be recorded over the Arctic, rather it will be recorded hundreds kilometers south of the Arctic in the Siberia. So they are also we have discussed. So the answer will be A. Again this I will put up in the easy question. This question should not be missed. तो ये क्वेश्चन ऐसा है कि जिसे आप मिस नहीं कर सकते हैं. सो आंसर विल बी ए. Next question is from the geomorphology. The geomorphology question, moderate question, rock का question है. In the context of effect of water on the rocks, chalk is known as a very permeable rock, whereas clay is known as quite an impermeable rock or least permeable rock. So obviously statement 1 is correct. Now when it comes to the chalk is porous and hence can absorb water. Porosity is different, permeability is different, but yes, porosity and permeability is very much associated. Porosity is gap and permeability is basically how the well connected pores are there, so the water can penetrate. So porosity and permeability should not be considered in one go. In the discussion of the soil also we have discussed. So of course the chalk is porous. Any body that is having the porosity or porous definitely can absorb, but it is not mandatory. Like in case of clay, clay is porous. So it is not like clay is not porous, but of course the clay is not that much permeable. So clay is not at all porous is incorrect. So first is correct, second is correct, third is not correct. Both, only one of the statements, second and third is correct, and that explains the statement 1. So the answer of this question will be the C. So C will be the answer of this question, that is chalk is more permeable, clay is impermeable or least permeable. So answer will be only one of the statements, second and third is correct, and that explains the statement number 1. Moving to the next question. So again it is from the climatology question. So climatology question. Without the atmosphere, temperature would be well below freezing point everywhere on the earth's surface. The topic is general heating and cooling on the earth's surface, या आप कह सकते हैं heat budget का topic है. So this is from the topic heat budget. So without the atmosphere, temperature would be well below the freezing point everywhere on the earth's surface. It's a right statement, correct statement. If the atmosphere is gone, so atmosphere is regulator. So atmosphere is gone, everywhere there will be a ice, temperature will go down, and once the temperature will start going down, it will continue go down because sunlight will be reflected back. So yes, it's a correct. Heat absorbed and trapped by the atmosphere maintains our planet's average temperature, because our atmosphere is not having the true greenhouse, rather it is having some of the greenhouse gas effect, and more importantly it acts like a regulator. Some of the places heat is being absorbed, some of the places heat is being released, and in fact the places where there is a higher amount of heat, heat will be distributed. So there are different mechanism that is working in our atmosphere. So this statement is correct. Third statement, atmospheric gases. So there are lots of gases like carbon dioxide are particularly good at absorbing and trapping radiation. So it is the characteristic of greenhouse gases. So of course carbon dioxide is one of the greenhouse. In fact, the entire this discussion of the climate change, the global warming is revolving around the carbon dioxide. Other gases are also there, but from the atmospheric perspective, the most important gas that we are interested is of course the carbon dioxide. So all the three statements are correct. Answer will be C. So imagine that how important is atmosphere. In fact, that is why when we talk about the life on the earth's surface, for the life, land, air, water, these three is very important, but out of these three we are more connected with the air. So we feel immediately if there is less air, so definitely the people will start getting affected. Immediately they will feel, understand the importance. Moving to the next question. All right. All right. So moving to the next question. So next question is, it is of the general geography. So general geography question, that is, consider the following countries: United Kingdom, Denmark, New Zealand, Australia, Brazil. How many of the above countries have more than 4 time zone? Now again, this is a question where lots of subjectivity involved. The question is associated with the time zone, and the question is asking how many of the above countries have more than 4 time zone. As far as the main time zone is concerned, United Kingdom is having the main time zone, that is UTC, GMT. The whole world is following that. Denmark is not having its own time zone, it is following the European time zone. New Zealand is also having a very limited time zone because of the longitudinal extent. Now we are left with 2 countries, that is Australia and Brazil. Australia of course have more than 4 time zone. Brazil, the official details suggest that it is having only 4 time zone. Now other than this, like UK, United Kingdom have some extended territory. So they will have territory in the Atlantic Ocean, in the Pacific Ocean. If you will consider that, so definitely UK will also have more than 4 time zone. Denmark will also have more than 4 time zone. Australia is of course having more than 4 time zone. So it is a little bit doubtful but I will go with the D, option D, that is only 2. Now moving to the next question. So here it is little bit doubtful. The answer, if the examiner will interpret like extended territory, जैसे डेनमार्क है तो डेनमार्क का ग्रीनलैंड, तो if they will go with the extended territory, so from that perspective the answer should be B, that is the United Kingdom, Denmark, Australia, that is C. So from that perspective is C, but from my side it should be D, that is only 2. So C and D. Moving to the next question. Again a very easy question, should not be missed. So it's not moderate, it's an easy question from the international dateline. In fact, this is exactly how I have explained in my GS Foundation classes. So if you happens to be my GS Foundation student, go through and check the international dateline concept. In international dateline concept, as I used to say in the classes also, the only thing that you need to remember is the one concept that is ideal. Whenever you are moving west to east, there will be a gain of a day. So west to east means gain of a day. So gain of a day का मतलब होता है कि if here you will have the Monday, so here you will not have the Tuesday, rather you will have the Sunday, because Monday means you already have lived the Sunday, and when you will cross this international date line that more or less follows the 180 degree longitude, तो आप मंडे से जब ईस्ट में जाएंगे, और मंडे में आपका क्या है, दिस इज साइबेरिया, दिस इज साइबेरिया, दिस इज अलास्का. सो साइबेरिया मंडे आप क्रॉस कर लिए इंटरनेशनल डेट लाइन, यू हैव रीच्ड टू Alaska, so you will live that day again, so there is a gain of a day. So yes, we have a date line, and Siberia, Alaska are few kilometers from each other, but when people are waking up and getting set for the breakfast in these cities, it would be different date. Yes, there will be change in the date if we will cross the international date line. Statement 1 is correct. When it is Monday in Siberia, it is Tuesday in Alaska. No, so it is Sunday in Alaska. So second statement is correct, incorrect, first is correct, so answer will be A, that is 1 only. Moving to the next question, that is 99. Again a very easy question, map based question. So this question is very easy and can't be missed by anyone. So Botswana is one of the leading producer of the diamond. Chile, lithium की बहुत EV vehicles की वजह से there is a lot discussion. We have a lithium triangle also, ABC, Argentina, Bolivia, Chile. So we have a Chile that is one of the leading producer of the lithium. Then Indonesia is also one of the leading producer of the nickel. So nickel is Indonesia, lithium is Chile, Botswana is diamond. So all these three are correct. Then we have the question number, last question, map based, again world mapping, but this is a moderately tough. So it is not easy, it's a moderately tough, because we cover the Sardinia. So Sardinia we cover it in the Europe mapping. So Sardinia is from the Italy, not the France. So Sardinia is incorrect. And Mallorca, this is also we cover. Mallorca is in Spain. So Mallorca we cover. But this Normandy is a very small island that is present part of the France territory. So this is little bit obscure location. But if you will have these two, then it will become easy. So Europe की अगर आपने mapping किया है, तो it will become very easy. And the answer of this question will be D. So answer of this question will be none are correct. So as far as the geography is concerned, majority of the questions were moderate, but yes, as I said in the starting, in the examination hall, definitely it will depend upon lots of factor. तो जितने भी आपने question किए हों, whatever the question you have done, don't think much, just carry on your preparation of the prelims. So that is from my side for the geography. Now stay watching the session, because the other subject, the remaining subject will be covered. So that's it from my side.